Hi everybody, today I'm going to be doing a presentation on the future of live theater in Atlanta and how to embrace Gen Z. To answer the question, what is the future of live theater in Atlanta and how can you market it to Gen Z? To understand the future of live theater in Atlanta, I think it's very important that we first define who Gen Z is to understand how to market to them, because Gen Z is the future of theater in Atlanta. According to Merriam-Webster, Generation Z is the generation of people born in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The Pew Research Center has done a lot of research looking into Generation Z. The research the center has done includes details of Gen Z's demographics and values. We need to focus on Gen Z when determining how theater will look in the future. Gen Z will be the ones attending shows, and it is beneficial to begin catering to that demographic now to secure consumers later. Gen Z has a different demographic than previous generations. It is known for being more racial and ethnically diverse. The generation is predicted to become majority non-white by 2026. Currently, only 52% of the generation is non-Hispanic white. This represents a sharp decline from the 61% of millennials reported as non-Hispanic white in 2002. The Pew Research Center says 1 in 4 Gen Zers are Hispanic, 14% are Black, 6% are Asian, and 5% are some other race or two or more races. Gen Zers are also more likely to have at least one immigrant parent at the rate of 22% compared to 14% of millennials. Since we are looking into the market in Atlanta, it is important to note that only 46% of Gen Z are non-Hispanic whites in the South. Generation Z is also predicted to become one of the most educated generations to date. Currently, they are more likely to be enrolled in a 2 to 4 year degree compared with millennials in 2003 and members of Gen X. Thankfully for marketers, Gen Z has similar opinions on key issues compared to millennials. Gen Z tends to be progressive, pro-government, embrace diversity, and are concerned about climate change. They also have a similar outlook on racial disparities when compared with millennials. When asked if blacks are treated less fairly than whites, 43% of Republican Gen Z members agreed, and 82% of Democratic members agreed. The 43% is an increase from millennial Republicans' 30%. Gen Z is also more likely to be socially progressive. They tend to be in support of issues like same-sex marriage and single motherhood. They also support changing attitudes towards gender identity. They are also concerned about climate change and sustainability. To summarize, Generation Z tends to hold more progressive social and political views, embrace diversity, and is more open to change in gender identity and expression when compared to older generations. Gen Z is considered digital natives, meaning they were born into a time when the internet already existed. Using the internet to market to Gen Z removes barriers of location. Now that we have all this information on our target demographic of Gen Z, we need to determine how to use it in marketing. I will be using the 4 C's to understand how to market to Gen Z. First, we're going to focus on conduit and consumption. To attract more Gen Zers, marketing should switch from traditional methods to focus more on digital marketing. Marketing to Generation Z starts with digital integration. More people are spending time online, and Generation Z is leading this change. Marketing live shows through digital content and placing ads on digital platforms will bring in larger audiences. Social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are Generation Z's go-to sources of entertainment and information. Leveraging these platforms for marketing live theater productions can significantly expand the audience base. Creating engaging content, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and interactive challenges related to upcoming shows can foster a sense of connection and anticipation among potential attendees. Theaters can also integrate digital elements into production. Incorporating AR into live theater productions can provide an immersive and interactive experience that resonates with Generation Z. AR technology can bring sets and characters to life, adding a layer of engagement and excitement to traditional theater performances. Live streaming performances not only caters to digital preferences of Generation Z, but also removes the various barriers to theater attendance. Those with limited time, disabilities, or transportation challenges can still enjoy the magic of live theater from the comfort of their homes. This accessibility aligns with the values of Generation Z, who prioritize inclusivity and convenience. Removing barriers to theater experience is a shift that Generation Z desperately wants. So, if we change the conduit of live theater to also be online, we will also see more people gain the benefit of consuming live theater, which is entertainment. Next of the four C's, we will look at content and convergence. Generation Z wants to see more diversity and inclusivity in entertainment. Theater companies in Atlanta should keep this in mind when planning and casting for shows. Generation Z is known for its commitment to diversity, inclusivity, and social justice. Theater companies in Atlanta should be mindful of these values. To attract and retain Generation Z audiences, theater companies should ensure diverse representation in their productions. Casting actors from various backgrounds and ethnicities not only reflects the diversity of Atlanta's population, but also resonates with the values of inclusivity held by Gen Z. Currently, the Atlanta theater scene lacks proper representation of the city's demographics. According to the New York Times article, 54% of the people, 12% of the plays. Atlanta, do we have a problem? There is a large disparity between the Black population and the number of shows that cast Black performers. The disparity creates a gap in the market and shows a bias for stories centering on white characters. If most of the city's population is only seeing 12% of representation, you are excluding people from that space. Theater companies should focus on involving the local demographic and providing proper representation. As we see a shift in the content of live theater due to the convergence with racial disparity and lack of inclusivity and diversity in theater, what does the future of Atlanta's theater look like? So, it's a tough question, but we can make plenty of inferences based on what we know. Generation Z is quickly becoming an important demographic for markets to focus on. The shift in demographics is just as important for Atlanta's live theater market as it is for any other market. When we look at live theater in Atlanta, a lot of changes that Gen Z is bringing to the table will be reflected in the future of Atlanta theater. The dynamic and evolving nature of the theater industry combined with the imminent rise of Generation Z as the primary audience calls for a reimagining of how theater companies operate and market their productions. Generation Z represents a diverse and socially progressive demographic. Catering to these values is not only in line with the aspirations of Generation Z, but also aligns with the broader societal shifts towards inclusivity and environmental responsibility. As far as marketing goes, I believe theater companies should begin to leverage influencer marketing. Influencers have more appeal than traditional advertisements, and they can be more niche to your market. Theater companies should see a great return on their investment by enlisting small influencers that focus on theater or things to do in Atlanta to market their productions. An article from the Rolling Stone titled "The Basics of Marketing to Gen Z" says, brands should look to activate influencers with highly engaged followers that share a natural affinity for their products or services. Using localization techniques with influencers can help market productions to people in Atlanta. The remarkable thing about the internet is you can also find communities that are interested in specific shows in live theater as a whole and focus your efforts on them. The use of influencer marketing will create an effective return on investment if marketers use these techniques. So what is the path forward? Gen Z is the future of theater, so we should expect Atlanta's theater scene to reflect Gen Z's values moving forward. Content will begin to become more inclusive and diverse. There will be more access to live performances online. Consumption will continue to be for entertainment, but overall people will look for more stories to reflect their lived experiences. Convergence will align with social and political values of Generation Z. So, my question for you, what is the best way to market to Gen Z without losing support from older audiences? Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.